All right, Dan, Sarah, why don't you go ahead?
What's up, brother Dan?
How's it going?
Good, man.
Good.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. Doing
Right
good.
on.
Question for you, Mac. I know you'd mentioned this in the past about hiking and footwear.
Yep.
When you're out at the Bob.
Oh yeah,
hiking,
good.
what do you do when you're fording rivers and whatnot? You taking your
Right.
shoes off? You're going with them.
So it depends, number one, on the size of the river, because where we go, you're fording streams about every 3 or 4 kilometers, something like that. But we won't hit any big ones. When we hit,
Right.
when I do a track that has like small rivers, I'm taking those shoes off, and it's a process. There's give and take here. So it's so funny because I've done this with big groups when we've gone from like the north end of the Bob Marshall all the way to the south. You know, time is of the essence. You got to think time.
Right.
So every 15 minutes is 1 kilometer. But 15 minutes is what it takes for you before a river to lay down a towel, take your boots and your socks off, put your sandals on, ford the river, get on the other side, dry your feet, put your socks on, put your shoes back on, tighten them back up the way they're supposed to be, and stow your sandals. That's 15 minutes, right? So that's a 1 kilometer that you could have moved. If it's real hot out, you want those feet dry. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because you don't want to get hot spots, because man,
I learned that.
you're going to get blisters like a mofo if your feet are wet. But if it's cooler out, I'm like, screw that, man. I'm walking through that river with my boots on. And the other thing is I don't wear Gore-Tex boots when I go up there. I want them to drain, you know?
Right.
So that's a freaking awesome question. It's a real art form, that kind of, the backpacking. And my sandals, they're strap on back flap of my pack, so I don't have to open it up. They're right there. They're in there with the shit that I need to get to right now. Some maps and my binos are in that pocket too, in case I want to glass something real quick. That's all back flap stuff. But yeah, it's because I've struggled with it when we've done the real long ones. And initially that's what I was doing. Every river we were going through like 4 or 5 of them on those, but that's each one is 15 minutes and that's 5 kilometers, that's
right.
So if you just walk through it.
Right. Well, see, that's what we only had a couple, and one of them was, I don't know, waist high, almost waist high, and then it's all the same because you have to cross it multiple times where we were going. But I didn't. I didn't have Gore-Tex boots for this reason. I wanted it to drain, but it was hot and it was fine on the way in, but nothing really dried overnight.
Right.
Started with the wet boots.
Yep.
Went out, and by the time if I had 1 more mile to walk.
Yep. So. And that's the thing too. It's about how long you're going to RON for, the rest overnight. Like if we go, in 10 miles and we're spending 2 nights, I don't have to worry about my boots drying out. They're going to dry out. Unless of course it's pissing out rain. But even then I'm going to make a fire and try to get them dry. So yeah, it's definitely worth it to practice that, dumping the ruck, taking that little towel out, and you got to have, and this works fine for me, just my cock rag works fine because you got to dry them off on the other side. It's kind of an art form, how fast can you do it? Because once again, tick tock, that clock's ticking. And when you're competing with daylight and energy exertion, because that takes a lot of energy. I mean, if you're really moving, if you're going a long distance, but I think the juice is worth the squeeze on taking them off.
Yeah, that's what I kind of learned. I think I'm just gonna, unless I'm at the end of the day and I know I'm gonna stay the next couple days and I'm gonna dry totally. Mm-hmm. I learned that. Yeah, not gonna not do that anymore. But
yeah. That's a fun question, man. I love talking about that stuff because I don't know, it's something I've been doing for a long time. I've learned a lot of lessons, about backpacking, hiking, camping. I've learned not just in the military, because in the military, it's a completely different thing. You're not backpacking, you're patrolling, and what you get is what you get. If you can't keep dry, you're just fucked.
Right.
But out here in this world, you want to stay as comfortable and dry for as long as you can.
Yes. Yes.